It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
What's up, guys, and welcome back. I'm on my way home right now, and I'm going to be showing you some updates with this Nissan. It's going to be a pretty exciting video. I mean, I don't want to spoil it just yet. You guys got to watch the whole thing, you know, because that's what we make YouTube videos for. So, pretty much got quite a bit done on the car, like as far as like wiring goes and stuff like that. I'm going to show you guys that. We got like a battery relocation thing. Pretty much got most of the car wired up. I still got to do some cleanup, but I'm at the point now where I can flip a couple switches and hit the button and have the thing crank it. Now we still don't have a fuel system figured out. Almost smoked that squirrel, but pretty much we're ready to get this thing fired up. I mean, we don't have exhaust manifolds, but we don't need that just to hear the thing start for the first time. So pretty much everything's where it should fire. So this might be the first time that this car starts. Alright guys, so real quick, you see we got some different motor mounts made up. So this way we got a poly bushing. I think it's better designed than the first go round, and it also frees up some room for exhaust manifolds when that time comes. So came out pretty good. And you guys also see we got this oil cooler hooked up. Now that I got this thing cranking over, put some oil in it. This way we can start getting the oil circulated and whatnot. So I had to put this on just so all the oil didn't come shooting out. And you guys also see we got our firewall grommet in. And then this is kind of just like a pass-through stud for the power cable that goes to the starter and alternator. And you guys see we pretty much got everything hooked up, minus like O2 sensors and stuff like that. But we shouldn't need that to get this thing fired up. So coming back here, you guys pretty much see we got this battery box. Now it's not actually white. It's got some like protective thing on it. So I think it's like brushed aluminum polish. I don't know. It's shiny. So we got a Optima battery. I believe this is 1 gauge cable. Pretty much just a relocation kit. We got some gold terminals. I want to say either Quick Car Racing or Moroso brand. I don't remember. But so we got this battery relocated to the trunk. I still got to cut these things off and make them flush with that. We got it vented just using, you know, stock grommet hole that was already here. So we just took out whatever wires. I think the wires for like the wheel speeds or the differential. So we just ripped those out, and we had a nice little spot where we could run that. Pretty much see, I was gonna go through like up here where this factory wiring goes, but I didn't. I ended up just drilling a hole and, you know, fishing it through this piece with a rubber grommet, so this way, you know, nothing touches. It just comes through here. We got this thing tied down, goes down back beneath the seat, up under the center console. So this way it looks nice and clean. Comes out here, goes up to our battery cutoff switch. You see we got a switch panel and a bunch of stuff mounted up. As far as this right here, this is like the engine harness that comes out, mounts up onto the PCM. That's inline body harness that I just made like a little bracket just so I can mount it there. And then that is the power cable that comes from the starter and alternator. It goes up into our, you know, Mopar fuse block. I did have it running straight to the battery switch on the battery side, and then the cutoff was just cutting off this module, which would pretty much kill fuel, PCM, stuff like that. And the reason for that is because that's what NHRA wants, as far as like, you know, to pass tech spec, whatever you guys call it. So not saying that I'm going to drag race this thing, but I do want to keep in mind, you know, the rules as far as that goes if that time comes. But the only issue that I saw with that would mean this whole thing is always hot. you know, from the battery to the alternator. Didn't really like that. So right now I just got it going off this PDC. So the cutoff switch is pretty much battery power here. And once you flip it on, it powers up the PDC. You know, this is like just a connector for it. So that'll also energize the alternator starter circuit. So yeah, but that's pretty much what's happening underneath here. Not anything crazy. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this gas pedal we got mounted up, and it did sit a little bit high. I got it pretty good now. I just use like shock sleeves, I guess you can call it. Those little, you know, circle, they go in like shock sleeves, like stuff like that, just to space it out. It came out pretty good. So it's pretty even. It's supposed to sit a little bit lower than the brake pedal, but I mean, it's pretty good for now. But for the cool part, see, we got our battery cutoff switch. We made this little panel. This is pretty much, I just put this light here to fill the spot. This way I know when the car is hot. So that comes on when the car is hot. Along with this battery voltage gauge. Definitely got to put some LED bulbs in there. But, I mean, pretty cool. See, we got ignition. You hear the throttle body, you know, flap. None of these are hooked up yet, but all the lights are. And then at this point, all we got to do, you can crank it, you know, with ignition off. It's just not going to give it spark or nothing. So she's cranking. Alright guys, so I just popped these panels out real quick just so I can show you pretty much like the backside and the wiring. All of this whole switch panel came pre-wired. Like with all of this, it actually came with like a little bit more wires, but I didn't need that since I already got that fuse block. That's like pretty much doing everything. So these are just our ignition wires. We got our clutch interlock switch grounded for now. So we pretty much got power on. And this is our, I want to say, ignition wire. And then our start, you know, is this blue one. So it's pretty much all that's going on the backside. I got the lights grounded out to the plate that I made. But we also took a wire from that comes down and connects. I don't know if you guys can see it, but these are our like our battery voltage gauge, our light, and the light for the battery voltage gauge. So we pretty much got this connected here. We just put some little electrical tape on it so they don't touch. But this way I can just completely disconnect it. And we got that going into the ground. That's for the lights on this panel. And then we have it just going straight to ground there. So we have a good ground. That's pretty much all that's going on. You see our battery switch. We got these nice, you know, battery post covers on there so nothing touches. You guys pretty much just saw, you know, pretty much all the wiring and stuff is done. Pretty much at the point to have this thing fire up. We just have to get a fuel system figured out. And I kind of been debating on, do I either want to use the stock tank and you just use like a new drop-in pump and, you know, run lines like that, or do I want to put a fuel cell? I feel like a fuel cell would be more simple. The only thing is it's already limited for room back there, and you know, we could probably only fit like a 5-gallon cell, and this thing will probably burn that up too quick. So right now I'm probably leaning towards using the stock tank, maybe getting like a Hellcat fuel pump, putting that in there, you know, just running lines like that, and then maybe trying to figure out like the emission system, if I can delete it or modify it, stuff like that. Now this is going to be the exciting part. I'm like nervous to do this because yesterday I did it and I'm surprised the cops didn't pull up or whatever. So we're going to go out there, we're going to spray some starting fluid in this, we're going to turn the ignition on. This thing's going to fire up for the first time. Now when I did this yesterday, dumb loud, and I got neighbors outside right now up like by their house. There's people outside cutting grass. There's actually a band going on down the street right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if the cops were to show up, but we're gonna send it just for you guys. All right guys, so like here goes nothing. I'm literally like shaking because I know how loud this is gonna be, and also I'm excited. It's gonna be loud. Should do it. Oh boy, am I nervous. I'm sorry, neighbors. We got to do it for the tube. All right, here goes nothing. Power. Whew. Ignition. Oh my God, this thing's gonna be dumb loud. I'm gonna have to kill it right away. That is something, man. I'm not emotional. I'm just like shaking. That shit's crazy. I mean, this thing sounds wicked. It sounds better than it did yesterday. Yesterday, I think I just blacked out, couldn't even hear it. But that's some shit, man. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna run to town real quick. We're gonna get a couple beers to celebrate. Also, so we're not here when the cops get here. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. But that is something. I appreciate you guys following this. I know it's been a long time coming. And especially just sitting here now thinking about, you know, everything I did. It really wasn't that much work. It was more intimidating because I've never done nothing like this. So fabricating is one thing that I lacked in. You know, that's why I pretty much did the motor mounts like 3 times over. But now I'm happy with it. Now I feel like pretty much everything else should be fairly straightforward. You know, hopefully once I get fuel to this thing, send it off, get like a exhaust manifolds made. But yeah. Hellcat Swap 350Z first start. Saw it here first. Thanks for watching.